breaking news from KXAN News.
Good morning. That breaking news out of the newsroom this morning. We can tell you that Austin police are investigating the second homicide of the year. It's unfolding right now in East Austin.
Officers right now at the scene of an apartment complex there on Manor Road near Rogie Lane. Police say someone called 911 saying there was a person lying in a parking lot. And when officers got there, they found that person with obvious trauma to the neck. And that person died there at the scene.
APD is still investigating what type of weapon was used. The parking lot is blocked off, but this is not expected to cause any kind of delays on Manor Road. Let's look at the other roads for you this morning on this Thursday. A live look of the potential for ice and even snow in some spots of Texas. Governor Abbott wanting Texans to be extra careful if you're going to drive on the roads in the next few days.
At a planning event in Austin, leaders said that dozens of state agencies activated emergency resources. It's in preparation of the winter storm. Thousands of TxDOT employees are pre-treating roadways with brine. That is a liquid solution preventing ice and snow from sticking to the pavement. Meantime, the Texas National Guard is on standby to try and help out any potentially stranded drivers.
ERCOT saying the power grid will be able to service the entire state during this winter storm. However, officials say that does not guarantee your home will have power the entire time.
But ice on trees, ice on power lines, or somebody losing control and hitting a power pole could make you lose power at your house.
The governor says that Texas opened more than 300 warming centers all over Texas. You can find the nearest one to you by calling 211. And we also have a link on our website, KXAN.com, in this story.
Austin also deployed crews to keep emergency response teams on standby. It's making sure people stay safe and warm over the next few days, doing everything it can. Austin Energy workers out there trimming those trees to protect any lines from potentially falling limbs. Austin and Travis County Cold Weather Centers, they typically only operate overnight, but they will stay open throughout the day today. We're also keeping an eye on school districts facing delays and closures following the bad weather.
So right now, here's what we know. The districts that are on a 2-hour delay are on your screen and on our website. I'll read them out to you. Mason ISD, Lomita ISD, Burnett, Cherokee, and San Saba ISD. Richland Springs ISD, that's going to be closed today and tomorrow. So that's the only school closure we're getting right now. Now, Christina's here. She's been tracking, of course, your rain chances and the potential for those trouble spots. And any update that you got from overnight?
Really, the only update is a 2 to 3 hour delay in the start time, but everything else is on track. So let me show you what we look like right now with radar, because at the moment, dry skies over central Texas. But if I zoom this out, look at that precipitation shield we've got further off to the west of us. Freezing rain, sleet, even thunder sleet right now in the San Angelo area, converting more to snowfall getting into the Red River Valley. Friends, this is coming. It is likely to fall mostly as cold rain here in central Texas, but you know, despite the fact that the morning commute might not be wet for everybody, that evening commute definitely looks slippery. Temperatures this morning in the 30s area wide, upper 30s at that. But look at your day planner. We don't get out of the 30s at all today. In fact, we're probably going to hover right near 38, 39 all day long. It's going to be a cold, wet day here in central Texas. Winter weather advisory kicks in at 6 a.m. for the hill country here. This is for some minor icing possible. Again, we've been warning you about this for a while, how most of it is going to be rain still, but not to say we won't see any slick spots on some of those elevated roadways and bridges. So coming up, I'm going to time out the day for you, show you when I expect the heaviest rain to move into the Austin metro. We're watching for those icy spots where that is highest as far as the risk goes. And then the sunshine and milder temperatures, those are on the way. We'll take a look at your weekend here in just a few minutes. As always, if you don't have it now is a great time to download that KXAN weather app. Just scan that QR code using your phone. If not, you could search it in your app store. Just search for KXAN weather. This is going to help you throughout the day. You have got access to the radar that I have in my office. You can also look at the day planner, and it's an easy way to submit photos to us as well if you see anything exciting or the opposite, worrisome where you are. Let us know. Again, that's the KXAN weather app. Tom?
Thank you, Chris. We now want to go to breaking news out of Los Angeles. You're taking a live look at the Hollywood Hills, and yet another large brush fire is breaking out. This is near Runyon Canyon. It's a popular hiking spot. The Sunset Fire, at least 60 acres right now. We know the president, Joe Biden, has canceled his trip to Rome to meet with the Pope so he can instead focus on the federal response to these rapidly moving wildfires.
And this comes as multiple wildfires are burning out of control right now in Southern California. More than 100,000 people forced to evacuate their home. Palisades Fire, now the most destructive fire in LA history. It's already burned more than 17,000 acres, including 1,000 structures. And then there's the Eaton Fire. That's another one, exploded to more than 10,000 acres. Officials confirming at a news conference yesterday that at least 5 people are dead as a result of the Eaton Fire. So it's now deadly. LA Mayor Karen Bass is now urging everyone to be vigilant and ready to evacuate as help comes now from around the country.
I am making sure that we leave no resource untapped. Firefighters are now on scene from across the state and across the country.
The LA County Fire Chief estimating that the Palisades Fire has destroyed 1,000 buildings. More than 300,000 customers right now do not have electricity. So we're still keeping an eye on that situation for you out in California. Not looking any better, though, this morning. Let's talk about what's happening here in Central Texas, since we are KXAN News today. And we know a plea deal could be in the works for Austin real estate investor Nate Paul. That's according to discussions in a courtroom that happened yesterday. Paul is pleading not guilty to a dozen federal counts of bank and wire fraud. The idea of a plea deal came up as both sides arguing over when the case should be dismissed. Neither Paul's defense team nor the U.S. attorney have spoken openly about any kind of possible deal. This also comes as the judge denied a motion from both sides to push the trial from next month to April.
The nation will pay its final respects to former President Jimmy Carter today. This is a live look right now as President Jimmy Carter lies in state. This is in the Capitol Rotunda. NBC News is planning special coverage of the historic farewell to the former president. That service starts at 9 in the morning, our time. And ahead this morning on Today, Craig Melvin live from Washington, D.C. You can watch his coverage right here on KXAN.
Welcome back, everyone. Austin Public Health wanting everybody out there on a high alert after state testing confirmed bird flu in dead birds found this month. These are birds that turned up in North Austin.
Yeah, now APH is saying it has a public health advisor reminding you do not contact wild birds. Going in depth here, recent cases of the virus have been detected in more than 60 people across the country. It includes one death reported earlier this week in Louisiana. In April, health officials confirmed a human case of the virus here in Texas. They said that person contracted it through exposure to dairy cows. And since then, a total of 16 states have recorded outbreaks of bird flu in dairy cows. Good morning. This is a live look out in Dripping Springs here early on this Thursday morning. Still chilly out there, 40 degrees at the airport. Probably colder in Dripping Springs. Happy to have you with us. Want to get to your news and some jobs in artificial intelligence. They are on the rise here in Austin. AI company Abby just moving to our area from California.
Yeah, here they come. It says jobs in tech specifically using AI. High demand, according to commercial real estate information company CBRE. Austin is now a top 10 market for tech talent specializing in AI. The report says Austin has more than 7,000 tech talent workers in AI. Still, Abby's chief product and technology officer says there's a shortage of people who are able to actually fill those tech jobs. And that's why they recommend taking the time to gain skills in AI. Something they say anyone can do with or without a degree, a 4-year degree.
You can just go to YouTube alone and just build yourself as far as a playlist of basically a curriculum. You start developing these skills, could be machine learning, could be AI scientists, but it also could just be using ChatGPT, using some of these AI models. If you know how to use them in your job, you will make more money. You will have more opportunities.
All right, according to Workforce Solutions Capital Area, we did check. As of last June, there were over 5,000 tech job postings right here in the Austin area.
Texas is trying to regulate artificial intelligence as the state lawmakers filed a bill for the upcoming legislative session. It is called the Texas Responsible Artificial Intelligence Governance Act. It would require companies to disclose whether they're using AI. It also plans to strengthen protections for personal data in AI systems, promote education and training, and establish guidelines to prevent bias and discrimination when using AI technologies.
Okay, something that's been going on for the last few days, and for good reason. It's a celebration. The week-long Hoda-bration continues this morning as the Today team celebrates Hoda Kotb as she wraps up her final week as the co-anchor of the Today Show that you see right after KXAN News Today. And we're looking back at some special moments of Hoda's time at Today, including where it all started. 7 years ago, Hoda officially joined Savannah in Studio 1A, marking the first ever female-led morning anchor team.
This is Today with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. It's 2018, and we are kicking off the year right because Hoda is officially the co-anchor of Today. Let's give her a round of applause.
I'm pinching myself. I think that we should send some medics to Alexandria, Virginia, where my mom has likely fainted.
So cute. Tune in to see and mark Hoda as she makes her week-long Hoda-bration continue right here on KXAN on the Today Show. And of course, Craig Melvin is taking over, and he's really excited as well. He's saying his parents are the ones that are going to be super excited to see him soon on the desk permanently.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You always sort of like, yeah, it's the younger generation that you're you're living for at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Making mom and dad proud, no doubt about it. Today's maybe one of the days, if you can, maybe tape and record the Today Show and join us on the CW Austin if you haven't checked us out, because although it's quiet right now, we do anticipate things to get more active here around 7, 8, 9 a.m. while we're on the CW. It's kind of like our version of the Weather Channel. If you haven't checked us out yet, we do 2 hours of just weather and traffic and weather-related news. So I'll see you there. I'll also see you right here on KXAN, because my eyes out west, San Angelo, they're starting to see the thick of it with the freezing rain, the sleet, the cold rain, the snow. The storm system, as mentioned earlier, kind of slowed down a little bit. So as far as the timing, maybe about 2 to 3 hours later than what we were initially thinking, but everything else has stayed on track. The forecast has not changed otherwise, meaning Lockhart, you're going to be in for a very wet afternoon and evening. Heavy rain expected in our eastern counties later today. Kreitz Market camera there in Lockhart giving us that dry view now, but make sure you've got the umbrella with you. Temperatures in the 30s as we start the day. We won't go out of the 30s today. High of 39, which we probably already reached if we're being honest. So the temperatures won't move, but the rain chances are only going up. Widespread cold rain with the potential for some spots of icing. Let me show you what the high resolution model is picking up on us. Again, I think it's got the general idea of keeping most of the next 2 hours mainly quiet, but once we get closer to 7 a.m., here comes that rain. And again, because our temperatures are in those mid to upper 30s, most of it falls as liquid, but those elevated surfaces could certainly hold some of those icy spots, especially west of I-35. Look at the coverage now by noontime. I mean, we're going to see a very active radar across all of Central Texas. As you're picking up the kids from school, if they are still in session on time, you'll notice it is going to be wet around pickup time. Your evening drive, very wet with moderate to heavy rain expected, and still those spots of freezing rain. Eventually, this will clear to our east. Still on track to see a mostly dry Friday morning. Some lingering showers early, but overall the rain chance or precipitation chance for tomorrow is down to about 10%. Look at the potential rain. 1 to 2 inches of widespread rain. So if we're being honest, this is kind of like best case scenario for Central Texas. We dodged the biggest icing risk, but it's not that it didn't go away. It just got shoved up to the north. When it comes to the icing risk, I'm still anticipating the western part of the viewing areas to the hill country to have that higher risk, up to about a 1/10, maybe even a 1/1500th of an inch of ice, but it will be very spotty in the Austin metro, if at all. Still on track expect to see the best time for drivers to leave for the Cotton Bowl tomorrow being tomorrow. Today, even this morning, we've got things starting to get a little bit more active by 8 a.m. up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And if you wait till after work, look at what you're dealing with on 35. It's going to be wet almost the entire drive up. So we are advising you again to wait until tomorrow. That also gives crews some time to get up there and attack some of those icier spots that we'll likely see in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But in general, I'm thinking tomorrow is going to be the much better day and the much easier day on you as a driver to get up there. 7-day forecast. Highs in the 30s today, 30s tonight. Something to note. Tomorrow, although drier, Friday night gets real cold. We're talking hard freeze territory again. So keep those pipes dripping. Do know that sunshine and milder temperatures briefly come back for the weekend, but a dry cold front knocks our highs back down to the 50s as we get all the way through the middle of next week. Tom?
Thank you, Kristen. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is not backing down on his lawsuit against pharmaceutical giant Pfizer. The state filing this suit in 2023, claiming that Pfizer knowingly misrepresented the effectiveness and safety of the COVID-19 vaccine and conspired with social media platforms to censor criticism of the shot. Last month, a judge dismissed that lawsuit, saying the federal government and Pfizer were in partnership with immunity through the Public Readiness and Emergency Act. Paxton says he plans to appeal that ruling and fight to hold Pfizer accountable.
A passenger in a Waymo driverless vehicle is making headlines across the country this morning after getting trapped in an out-of-control car on his way to the airport.
Yeah, we know that here in Austin, Waymo has plans to start offering more driverless rides this year. KXAN's Jayla Washington shows us some of the incidents the city of Austin is already tracking.
Why is this happening to me on a Monday? I'm in a Waymo.
While headed to the airport in Scottsdale, Arizona last month, Mike John's Waymo driverless car lost control in a parking lot.
It was just going in the circles like around the 5th or 6th time. That feeling was very uncomfortable where you're strapped in, you can't open the door. Is somebody playing a joke on me?
Someone from Waymo support did eventually tap into the vehicle to help.
Mike, I'm really sorry for this.
But this situation now raising safety concerns, including here in Austin. And since last year, Waymo has already been operating 24/7 across 37 square miles in Austin in the Hyde Park, downtown, and Montopolis neighborhoods. That's according to its website. Thousands of rides weekly, Waymo says, are already being offered to its employees and thousands of people from the general public who put themselves on the company's interest list. And it does plan to open rides up to everyone this year. The City of Austin's Transportation and Public Works Department now has this dashboard where it tracks all autonomous vehicle incidents. And take a look. The past 2 years, there have been 20 Waymo incidents, most involving safety concerns. But that is less than 30% of all AV incidents reported.
This car is just going in circles.
Waymo is calling what happened to John's rare, but says if something similar happens to you, you can press the pullover button in the car or contact Waymo support from in-car screens or the app. Jayla Washington.
And I got a flight to catch.
KXAN News.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Coming into the playoff this year, Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian often remarked how the Longhorns were the only program to make the playoffs last year when it was in the 4-team format, and this year in the 12-team format. Well, now the Longhorns find themselves amongst the Final Four again, and last year in the semifinals, they had that heartbreaking loss to Washington. Coming into this season now, Sark said his team was obsessed with taking that next step and trying to win a national championship, and these Longhorn players know that loss to Washington in this round last year set in motion all the success they've had this campaign.
And it hurt bad, but now you know what that taste feels. It's kind of like when you touch a stove. Like you're not gonna touch that stove again. So we don't want to be on the other side of that again. I think it most definitely helped with people's mindset and how we go about business and things like that.
We all looked each other in the eye, and we knew we had to be back because that feeling is. It's an addictive feeling, being where we are right now.
I feel like this shaped our culture because it kind of set the standard for the team. And now that we're in a new era of Texas football, I feel like this is where we need to be every year from now on.
A lot of these Texas players are from the greater DFW area and really excited to be playing close to home, like Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, who grew up in Southlake, about a half hour from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. And he has a lot of ticket requests, as you can imagine. He said all of those get funneled through the CEO of the family, Mom. I'm sure Quinn has enough to deal with on a week like this ahead of the Longhorns and the Buckeyes in Arlington. For now, reporting on the Cotton Bowl, Noah Gross, KXAN News.
Noah, thank you. Coming up, more than 100,000 people told to get out of their homes to evacuate in California after the latest wildfire breaks out. If you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you join us on air for that and the rest of your stories on KXAN.com.